Testing, testing. Yes? What, are we starting again? Start again. Okay.
Let's start. Are we ready? We're in. We're in. Are we in?
We had a really good intro.
But we forgot the rhyme.
It's episode 39.
Of Talk of the Town.
Yes, finally, welcome to the People's Pension Stadium. We are experiencing some technical difficulties.
People don't want to hear us anyway.
No, that's true. It's probably the best part of show we've ever done. Yes, sorry about that. Yes, welcome to the game. This afternoon we play Port Vale here in just under an hour's time. You can't be here this afternoon, but of course you can watch the game live on iFollow.
Follow in your heart, in spirit, in soul. You make every tackle, score every goal. You're part of it, wherever you are in the world. From the first minute until the last kick. Victories, heartbreaks. You're part of the fabric, the passion, devotion, supercharging emotion. For you, there is only one. Abiding loyalty, togetherness that is second to none. Follow every kick, every tackle, every goal. With access to live stream games and matchday commentary, with coverage spanning the globe. Behind the scene content, newsletters and match highlights. There's no better way for you to get closer to your club. And with iFollow sales supporting them, there's no better way to show your love. When you can't be there with iFollow.
Here we are joined now by the gaffer, John Yems, but let's first run through today's side. 3 changes from the side that played against Barrow. We start with Glenn Morris, George Frankham, Joe McNerney, Jack Powell, Ashley Nadesan, Tom Nichols, David Cisse, Tony Craig, Jordan Maguire-Drew, James Tilley, Jake Hessenthaler, and then on the bench, Stuart Nelson, Taryn Alarakia, Archie Davis, Sam Matthews, Nick Cerula, and Josh Wright. John, we were on good form going into the game on Saturday. Sounds like a difficult game up at Barrow, and I suppose ultimately gutted to lose it at the end there.
Yeah, I think we're still on good form. You know, to go up there, couple of mistakes cost us, but that's in the past now. We carried on. We won a couple of games in the last minute, as you all know, and it evens itself out. But no, the lads left their lungs out on the pitch. That's all you can do. We've got a tough period coming up now, but everybody's ready for it, and. Yeah, let's hope we can go on again.
And I suppose from a positive point for us Reds fans, if you like, we're deep into we're almost in April now, and we're still fighting. We're still fighting with things to play for. And like Harry, you probably say many seasons have sort of fizzled out by this point, but that's not the case so far this season.
No, obviously the way the season's gone, there's always been something to be really interested in, and I think this is hopefully a changing of the guard. Now John's here, and we seem a little bit more settled than we have been in years gone by.
Yeah, but it's interesting because all the lads are in there, and we're going to give it a right go. The way that the season's going, and you see the results, it's like someone's wishing you to get in there, if that makes sense.
Talking about Tuesday's results in particular.
Yeah, it's just the way it is, and I think speaking to other managers, we've got a lot of injuries that hopefully will. Jordan's out today. Tom Dallason's just come in; he's having his stitches out. Jake Eskif's had to go back to Southampton because it's in finish with us now. His hamstrings, bless him. And it was good though because it's perked everyone up because Max has just turned up, watched the game, and he was just sort of like, you look at Max and you see the season, and he's just going to watch some of the good results we had, like the Leeds, and you're beating Forest Green away, and you're beating Tranmere, you're beating Bolton's. So listen, it's still all to play for as far as I'm concerned. A little bit of lack of inconsistency, but we've had, not making excuses, but you've had the COVID, you've had injuries, we've had this, we've had that. Same as everybody. And as I said right at the beginning of the season, if there's still a football club at the end of this year, for every level, I think you've done well. And it's a pity that the fans weren't here to see us do some of them things that we've already done.
What's this week been like when you take away playing on the Tuesday night? Is it nice to not have a game on the Tuesday? Does it give you some more time on the training ground, or is it just generally good to get a bit of a breather in?
No, because we've got... It feels like I'm at a party or something. I only come in to buy a pair of jeans. I don't know what's going on. No, because next week it's the craziest week I've ever had in football. Because we go today, Tuesday, Monday we're travelling up to Carlisle. We come back Wednesday and we're travelling Thursday up to Scunthorpe. You come back from Scunthorpe and you've got to play again on the Monday. So it's like 4 or 5 games in what is it, a week, 8 days.
And how will you cope with that? Because it's pretty much, as you described there, you're pretty much travelling rather than training, aren't you? You're travelling and resting, I suppose.
Well, you can't. That's what I say. I think it's an unknown thing for a lot of clubs. But for us, with the injuries that we've got, I'm not one to whine on about injuries, but it do make me laugh when you see certain supporters keep moaning about what we ain't doing and what we are doing. Well, just have a look what we've done, and what we're trying to do. Not what we ain't doing, it's what we're trying to do. It's difficult when you've got injuries, but we can't. You can't come in the training ground and have a week to practice on a game or nothing like that. It's bump, bump, bump all the time. Would you change it? Of course you would. Current climate, just got to love playing. There's a lot worse people off in the world than us, so we get on with it.
From a player's point of view, I suppose from a manager's point of view, you probably want more time to prep and look at the opposition and get the team on to work with them. But from a player's point of view, will they look at the week and go, do you know what, great, we get to play 3 games this week?
Yeah, it would do, yeah, because, everybody loves playing, but as I say to you, you've got to be careful because we've got so many injuries that are caused through muscle fatigue rather than impact injuries. And listen, it's the same for everybody. We're just, the gauntlet's down there. We know what we've got to do and we know what we want to do. So regardless of what the outcome is today, that every team that we pick is going to try its, damnedest for the football club.
Something I'm just pulling out of the starting lineup today is both Tilly and Maguire-Drew starts, and so far in their time at the club, it's normally been one or the other. But you go with both today. Is that something that
Well, that's we just
makes
lost.
it a bit of a selection headache for you?
No, it's a good problem to have. But we've lost, as I say, Jake Eskip's gone.
Yeah.
So you haven't got him in there. Sam Matthews just coming back from injury. We've had to put Cease back at left back. Jordan Tunnicliffe's out injured, as you know. So it just shows you. I've been saying all along that we're going to need every player that we got available.
But for me, it doesn't look any weaker or anything like that. We've got the quality to come in.
That's the compliment. That's what I say. It's how long you can keep that going, because some of them will need resting.
Yeah.
We checked the other day, and I think Nico's done more minutes. And
I think today, if you keep him on the pitch for 90 minutes, I think it's 20 consecutive games in a row he's played every minute.
Yeah.
Which, with the way the games come, is credit to him.
And he's not a player who just rides through games. No. He is everywhere, every game.
Well, it's a compliment to the club and everything else that you've got players that want to come rather than people that want to leave. And whatever happens now, like I say, you would have took this where we are now at the beginning of the season. If you would have included the Leeds and the selling of Max and this, that and the other.
Snap your arm off.
Keep saying you'd like to think so. But I think it's about time that the fans, some of them anyway, started looking at the positives rather than keep thinking what if, because you don't get nothing for what ifs. It's what you do on the day, isn't it?
And when you spoke about it being the business end of the season, are you looking at the league table and going, looking at games in hand, looking like today, a lot of the sides above us, I think, play each other. Are you looking at that, or are you going, I don't care about that, we just win here and then we'll see what happens?
No, as I say to you, we can't influence anything. Everything we got to do is within what we can do. We ain't got to rely on anybody. We ain't got to worry about anybody. Just go out and relax, play our football and enjoy it. And whatever happens on the back of that happens. And it won't be, as I keep saying, it won't be through want of trying that we ain't going to make things happen. But let's not beat ourselves up. The lads are giving in 100%. They're doing it every day in training when we can train. But most importantly now, I think everybody's worrying about, the travelling is... It's good that all the lads are together, you're on a coach, but you go to the hotels and there's no gyms open, there's no swimming pools, you can't walk around, you can't do this. So, it is what it is. Let's just endorse it and hopefully get the results that go with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, just a very, very quick one, sort of on the actual game today on Port Vale. I think when we played them earlier on in the season, a lot of us were expecting them to be sort of there or thereabouts. Hasn't really gone their way so far this season, but it doesn't really change the dynamic of the 90 minutes today, does it?
No, they're a good side. It's difficult for me because you keep repeating yourself, but it's a fact. There's some good sides in this league. And there's sides playing a lot more money that we wish we had. And I know money don't always come into it, but when you've got a squad and you've got players, sometimes I'd rather have players that are playing for you and want to play for you than sometimes playing someone a load of money that don't. I'm not saying that's happened at Port Vale because, like you said, I thought them and Mansfield would be leading the packs this year. And it's surprising they ain't, but it ain't over till it's over.
It does look like they've turned a bit of a corner, doesn't it? The new managers come in. He didn't necessarily hit the ground running, but they've picked up 2 wins, and they'll be coming here with confidence, I imagine.
Well, yeah, of course they will, but then you say they picked up 2 wins. I'd look at it, well, what they've been doing since then. You know, he ain't done too much, Darryl, has he? He knows he's a good manager. He's been around, but that's players for you. And, you know, it's that big C word. It's the consistency word. And
I was a bit worried about what C word was coming out there, John, to be honest.
That's during the game, that C word. There's quite a few of them running around as well, but that's another story.
Fantastic. John, thank you very much for joining us. We will have a look back now at Saturday's game away to Barrow.
Cheers. That was really good.
Taylor moving the ball wide. Again, it's James. James with the delivery that wins a corner for the home team. Banks with the delivery. Coming in with the header is Davis, and after 10 minutes they lead. Powered in off of the head of Tom Davis, and Glenn Morris can't keep that one out. Barrow continue their brilliant run of form. Been so good lately from set pieces. And that is a bullet header from Tom Davis. Brilliant early strike, just what they would have been looking for. That's a fine ball forward, and Crawley managed to get to the byline. Can they get the cut back into the box? They can, and they can find an equaliser too. The Barrow defence is breached by George Frankham. Well, it was Route 1 stuff from Crawley for the first time in the game into the Barrow penalty area. First real chance of note. Clinical when they needed to be. George Frankham draws things level. Nicely glanced on in midfield by Barry, and James is fouled. Oliver Banks, good looking ball into the area. Well, hold on a minute, there's a penalty here. The challenge by Tony Craig is penalised. A foul, according to the referee, on Bobby Thomas here. Let's have a look. Big call from the referee. Big opportunity here for Barrow. 36 minutes into the game. Top scorer, Scott Quigley, with a chance to restore the lead. Brilliant. Big penalty from Scott Quigley. Barrow 2, Crawley 1. Well, determination in this strike. Power as he sends it flying into the back of the net. And Barrow restore their advantage here. Cerula searching ball into the area. Not the best defending from Barrow. They've recovered and turned away. Brought back forward here by McNerney. McNerney's lost it. And given away again by Barrow. Careless in possession. Inviting the pressure on from Crawley Town. It's a nice drop of the shoulder there from Jack Powell. Powell works it wide. Top scorer Nichols makes a run into the penalty area. Plenty of red shirts forward for this one. Powell in there too. And there we go. It's another late Crawley goal. 6 minutes remaining in the game. And Crawley draw level. A real blow as Barrow search for survival in League 2. Barrow 2, Crawley 2. And it's Jack Powell ghosting into the penalty area. Joel Dixon committed. And Jack Powell, Crawley's number 8, on the goal line with a simple header. Eardley allowed to carry the ball a long way. Quigley on the spin. Quigley, fine effort, brilliant stop. Glenn Morris at full stretch to Palmer around the post. Well, Quigley holds his head in his hands here because he thinks this is in. Look at this. And that's a top save. Late in the game, ball comes in towards Taylor. Oh, it's crept in. Barrow fight until the very end, and in the 96th minute, they have a winner. Don't think this takes a touch on the way through, although Quigley is there on the line. They won't care. Barrow 3, Crawley Town 2. Crawley given a taste of...
Yeah, interesting stuff there from John earlier on just now. Let's just run through that team one more time. 3 changes from Saturday's defeat to Barrow. Morris starts in goal. It looks like a back four of Frankham, McNerney, Tony Craig and David Cisse. Jordan Maguire-Drew, Jack Powell, Jake Hessenthaler and James Tilley across the midfield with Tom Nichols and Ashley Naddison up front. So going out from Saturday is Tunnicliffe, Davis and Josh Wright. Harry, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I really like it, and like we said to John, the Maguire, Drew, Tilley both involved is really good to see, and I think it'll actually almost probably turn into when we've got the ball, maybe Hess will just sit, and it'll almost be like a front 5 probably of Powell in the middle and Tilley, Maguire, Drew out wide with Nichols and Naddison up front. Which I think if you're
we're going to bring in Gary. Gary, come in.
A smooth
join
transition.
us, Gary. Join us. So this is ideal. Get your insight.
No,
we're just talking about the lineup, Gary.
Okay. As you look at that, if you're Port Vale, I think that there's a lot to worry about, and the biggest standout for me is seeing Tilley and Maguire, Drew both get the start behind 2 up front. I think that's really strong.
I mean, looking at this side, I'm looking at this in 2 ways. There is a bit of a disruptions there, particularly at that back four. Joe McNerney and Tony Craig haven't really been paired together very often this season. John Tunnicliffe typically plays most games, doesn't he? David Cisse comes in at left back. There's disruption there. But looking at the front 6, if you like, Jordan Maguire-Drew's featured regularly. Powell and Hess have been there all season. Nichols, Naddison, they've been regular all season. James Tilley has fared predominantly off the bench, but featured heavily. I'm still looking at that side and going, do you know what? I expect them to compete this afternoon.
Yeah, very much so. I think it's a very attack-minded formation and line-up that John's gone with this afternoon. I think his hand has been forced slightly by a couple of injuries to people who are not going to be available today. But I think the changes that have been made are all very, very positive. Jordan Maguire-Drew has always looked very, very tricky. Needs to maybe deliver a little bit more, get a goal or 2 for his confidence. Tilley, we know, has come off the bench to score some very, very important goals in recent weeks as well. Powell got a goal last week. Maybe Hessenthaler needs to sort of chip in with, a few more goals or whatever. But, and those front 2, I think, are always likely to score goals and cause trouble against what I'm expecting to be a very, very resilient and difficult to break down Port Vale side, as they always are.
What have you got on Port Vale? Because for me, they're a little bit of a bogey team for us. I think more so here. I don't know when the last time. I hope you've got the last time we beat them. I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot at all.
That's all right.
But
last
it's
time
not recent.
Last time we beat them down here was March 2012.
Wow.
So 9 years ago. And that was a game that finished 3-2. A goal by Torres,
Okay,
who's obviously your big guest on the FA Cup day. And 2 by Gary Alexander.
Yeah.
And in the midfield that day was also a certain Danny Borman.
Okay.
But I think Vale are under new management, aren't they, in the last month or so? Darryl Clark's moved over from Walsall to Port Vale. I think they've obviously done enough over the course of the season to save themselves from relegation. They certainly won't go down. And I think next season they'll potentially be a force to be reckoned with, because they've won their last 2 games under Darryl Clark. Things that he's trying to do are obviously starting to pay dividends for them now. And I think, as I say, they'll be difficult to break down today. You remember the games that we've had against Walsall when Darryl Clark was in charge there. A cup game against Bristol Rovers a few years ago when he was in charge there. They're normally very well organised, very resilient. They're quite a physical side, as most sides are within League Two. Hard to break down, don't concede many goals. They've won at home against Newport and away at Colchester. So, like I say, what he's doing is starting to pay dividends.
I wonder how Port Vale are going to approach this game, because they brought the new manager in. He didn't hit the ground running. We discussed this briefly with John a minute ago. He didn't hit the ground running and win games instantly, but he has seemed to sort of turn the tide, picked up a few draws, and they've gone and won their last 2 games. One against Newport, the other one against Colchester, I think. Them 6 points, sort of back-to-back wins, probably make them safe. You'd have thought they'd be hard pushed to go down from where they are now. Do you think they there's a danger that they might come here and play with more freedom maybe than they would have 3 or 4 weeks ago when they were stuck in a relegation battle?
Yeah, potentially, and I think you could maybe say that for a few sides that are still to come down here. Not saying there's nothing to play for, but those sides who maybe know that they're safe from relegation.
I mean, that suits us, I would say. I'd rather they came here and had a go than the scrappier games, kind of your Walsalls and stuff. If they park the bus, I'd have a bit more of a question mark over what's going to happen. But I'd be very happy to see them just try and go toe to toe and have a really entertaining game of football.
They've got an unchanged lineup this afternoon as well, which is no surprise, having beaten Colchester away last week. And I've got them down from the information that I could find during the week as playing a 4-3-3 lineup. Their media guys have just said to me it may not necessarily be that way. It might sort of change in game, much like Crawley's potentially could as well. You know, Maguire, Drew and Tilly will maybe switch wings or whatever during the course of the game. But I think if they're going to go 4-3-3 Port Vale, they're certainly coming here with a certain amount of freedom, you know, thinking they've got, like you say, Joe, absolutely nothing to lose. They might as well go for it.
Yeah, that's it. And Port Vale seem to appear a lot in our history.
Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, this is. I'm going to sound like John Barnett. He was messaging me last
night.
Both
of us.
Yeah. He asked us both 2 questions. One of us nailed them both, Gary. One of us maybe 50%.
Okay. I won't ask.
But he was saying that Port Vale, everyone knows they were the first team that we played in the Football League up at Port Vale.
Yeah.
But they were also the first team we played here at what is now the People's Pension Stadium. So us and Port Vale have a history, so you never know what's going to happen.
Barney will be happy, that's a tip.
Yes, there you go, Barney. You can sleep well tonight. I mentioned it. Looking at Crawley, we become a little bit harder to beat, didn't we? The 3-1-0 wins on the trot. We got a draw here against Walsall. Okay, unfortunate to lose late on at Barrow last week. Do you expect to see them bouncing back today and sort of looking up the table, especially with results going our way midweek?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they really need to if they're going to keep the playoff hopes alive. They've certainly got to get 3 points here this afternoon. I know historically, you know, we said a few minutes ago it's not been a great fixture for Crawley over the years, but you know, just got to put that to one side. Anything that's gone before has gone before, and it's down to today. And I think games like this, Tuesday night against the Carlisle side that have obviously slipped a great deal from when they came here, you know, looked like they were unbeatable, didn't they? Looked like they were going to go on and charge through the league.
They seem to really struggle
in December.
COVID, don't they? They got hit hard.
And away at Scunthorpe on Good Friday, I think these are the sort of games where Crawley have really got to be looking to pick up points. And, you know, they're not going to go into any game aiming to get beat, are they? But I think certainly this afternoon they need to get 3 points on the board and get themselves back on track, because the defeat at Barrow last week was disappointing, but it was one defeat in a decent little run that had been going on up until then. And, you know, it was unfortunate. I think the winner even took Harry by surprise on the commentary last week.
I couldn't see it. Joe, I know you've been to Barrow.
Yeah.
You can barely see either goals.
No, I know.
The wind was horrendous. And I think before the game, if you had said to me, we're going to score twice here, I would have said there is no way we lose.
Yeah.
I think the way we had won games 1-0, we'd been really resolute at the back. We had nicked games. The way the game went, I said to Joe, it's probably the worst game I've ever seen, the worst game I've ever commentated on, and there were 5 goals in it. So I think at the end of the season, you'll look at that and I think you just have to put a line through it as it being a complete anomaly.
You get those in this league, don't you?
Do you still have to commentate through the glass?
The glass, yeah. So it was actually hard to get a feeling of how bad the wind was, and the pitch was bad. And you saw the goal, and it's direct from a corner virtually at the end. I mean, they scored from 2 corners and a penalty. And sometimes I think you come away and we're almost just destined to not get something there.
Again, though, Joe, it's you know, we talk about how difficult Crawley have been to sort of break down recently. 2 corners and a penalty, nothing really from open play.
No.
3 clean sheets in a row.
Walsall
3
was a
goals
penalty.
conceded last week. Walsall was a penalty. So the 4 goals we have conceded in the last 5 or 6 games, nothing's really come from open play. No side is really sort of cutting through us, are they?
I was chatting to somebody earlier on. I was helping him with his iFollow code for this afternoon, and he was
good idea.
And we was chatting. And we was chatting on his doorstep and was saying about how good the season has been. And I said to him, I said, if we'd have offered you this season at the start, would you have taken it? He went, with both hands. He like the cup run, the off-field stability, the on the field. Comfortably mid-table and looking upwards.
Yeah.
Like overall, it's been really good, and I just really hope that we can keep that momentum, keep going, and keep that sort of that interest, and maybe beyond for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And I think, as John says most weeks, if it's a win, it's another 3 points to safety. I think Crawley are clearly in a very, very safe position now, still with an outside chance of creeping into the playoffs, but don't want to get carried away. Certainly not going to go down. And as John says to us every week, the most important thing at the start of the season is that we get through it, everybody's safe, and there is a football club come the end of the season going into next season.
Yeah, thus far we see
The famous Gary score prediction for today?
Yeah, because I'm so good at those.
Yeah.
I predicted 1-1 last week at Barrow. What do I know? I think Crawley will nick it this afternoon. I think it's going to be tight, but I can see Crawley getting it by 2-1. Seems to be my standard prediction, I think, for every home game.
It'll happen at
Surely
some
at some
point.
stage of the season, it's going to come true.
Fantastic, Gary. Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome,
joining us.
yes.
Otherwise, Gary will be on the iFollow with Tony Vesey this afternoon. Gary and Tony on the iFollow from just before 3 o'clock. And Gary will also be co-presenting with me on Tuesday night away at Carlisle.
Wow.
A bit far for Harry to travel. So,
I draw a line.
Yeah, so
Barry did me in.
Gary will be joining me and hosting the whole show. So I'm looking forward to that. That will be fantastic. Gary, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now let's take a look back at how the Reds got on when we travelled to Port Vale on the opening day of the season.
Chases on for James. Casual touch away by Morris. Now looking to orchestrate.
Long ball over the top. That's a really simple one for Cullen, and he's denied by Morris. Routine in the build-up. Route one over the top. And a dink into the centre forward. The diving header just didn't have the power. It was too close to the keeper as well. Rodney keeping up the charge, but it's a futile one for the moment. As Crawley come the other way. Naddison taking on his man. And victorious as well. Lovely pullback, and Brown tips it up. It's not over, it's not away just yet. And behind for a corner, Tyler Frost pulling the trigger. Arrived into the 18-yard box, kept it down. Kept out by Brown. Cleared away, but Crawley will try and rebuild once again on the edge of the final third. It's an optimistic and aimless header, though. Devontae Rodney beating one, happy to take on another, running at the defence here. He's got one in the middle waiting. It's Cullen, it's 1-0. 6 minutes before half-time, Mark Cullen strikes for Port Vale, and the home side have a deserved lead. But there's a great deal of gratitude that has to go to Devontae Rodney. Physical and fair with the challenge at midfield. Happy to run at the defence, take on as many as came in front of him. And Cullen with a very simple finish. Port Vale 1, Crawley Town 0. Brown happy to beat it away. It's a rare moment of fire coming from Crawley when they come forward. Port Vale's defence just sitting off slightly. Solid stop though from Brown. Plenty in the box waiting. Can't find a teammate though with the delivery. Another opportunity. Conlon takes a deflection off the frame of the goal, and it's turned in by Cullen. No one near him as he reacted first to the loose ball. And Port Vale double their advantage. Only 5 goals in the league last season for Mark Cullen. He's got 2 on the opening day of the campaign. 1 either side of the interval. Real misfortune for Crawley Town as the initial effort ricocheted onto that right-hand post, but easy for the forward to finish.
Yes, welcome back. Earlier in the week, someone said to me, I missed the game shows on Talk of the Town. Well, fear not, my friends. We are back. And we have got our worst contestant ever across all game shows, Sam. And he is going to join by Tom. Tom, you've got a good record on the game show.
Yeah, because he plays me every week, that's why.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. That is true. So, without further ado, it's time for Sort of Higher or Lower.
Oh my God, it's higher or lower with Talk of the Town.
I say sort of higher or lower because none of the answers are actually higher or lower in this quiz, but we didn't have another intro, so there you go. Higher or lower it is. Okay, boys, 5 questions. They're all about the history and they're all relevant to today. Are you ready, Tom?
I am indeed, yeah.
Are you ready, Sam?
I am.
Splendid. It sounds like we're ready. Okay, question 1. Today marks, I believe, the 9th anniversary of the Battle of Bradford. We all remember the Battle of Bradford, very famous.
Yes.
I was showing Nick the Geordie the Battle of Bradford images earlier on. He couldn't believe his eyes. Anyway, question 1. Who was sent off in the Battle of Bradford? Who was sent off? Now, you get a point each for the Crawley player. There was 2 Crawley players that got sent off that day. There were 3 Bradford players. I'll give you 2 points for every Bradford you can get, and 1 point for each of the Crawley players. Play along at home as well, please do. Okay, are you done?
I'm in trouble here, I think.
Come on, Tom, what have you got?
I think that's wrong.
What's that? Ian Simpemba, you are. No. You've never heard of Ian Simpemba, have you?
No.
No, brilliant.
I've
Come on,
got
just guess.
one.
Write somebody else down.
I
If you guess, you'll probably be right.
I think I've got the 2 Crawley players. I've got no idea
All
for
right,
Bradford.
show off. Come on,
No
Tom.
idea.
I've made one up.
Okay. Right, Sam, what have you got?
I've got no Bradford players, but for Crawley, I believe it was Carl McFadzean and Pablo Mills.
Okay. Tom?
I've got McFadzean and then Clark.
Clark.
I was thinking
I
of
thought you'd
Mills.
written Claude then, and if you'd written Claude, you got a point, because it
Oh,
was Claude
Claude
Davis
Davis.
and Pablo Mills. For those of you playing along at home, all 0 of you, it was Andrew Davis, Luke Oliver, and John McLaughlin from Bradford. Okay, question 2. On that famous night, who scored for Crawley? Who scored for Crawley? Think back, come on. One player was coming towards the end of his Football League career. The other one went on and had a very good Football League career. Even playing in the Championship. There you go. Come on. I'm giving all the options
my
here.
history is definitely not my strong
Well, I
point.
think we're working that out, Tom. It's currently 1-0 to Sam. There was 2 players. 2 players scored. Come on. No, I'm standing still. I'm dancing. Okay, Sam, what you got?
I've got no idea. I've got Tubbs and Hurst.
Tubbs? What, James Hurst? Or did you just write Jeff Hurst?
I just write Hurst.
Okay,
I'm thinking
Tubbs
of
and Hurst.
I'm thinking of a player, but I've got it wrong, and I can't remember who began with H. We had him up front. I swear there's this player in League One. He scored against Sheffield United. Who was that?
Hayes, Paul Hayes.
Hayes.
No, it weren't him.
Oh.
What have you got?
So I played it safe, Tubbs and Torres.
Tubbs and Torres, 2
Yeah.
players who actually exist, which is a start.
is a start, yeah.
Both wrong. It was Gary Alexander and Leon Clark.
Oh, Gaza.
So Sam still leads 1-0. We move to question 3 now. Today we play Port Vale, and as I mentioned earlier on in the show, Port Vale were our first opposition in the Football League. Who scored in that game against Port Vale in our first ever Football League game? Come on, think about it.
Think about it. Thinking.
At least one of these players has already been mentioned, I believe, by both of you in the quiz. Come on.
I've got to go with him then.
It's 2 players. 2. Come on, who did he play with? Think about it. Those of you still with us, hope you're enjoying the sort of higher or lower. Okay, Tom, what have you got?
I've gone with Matt Tubbs and Joe Comfort.
Matt Tubbs and Joe Tweelings, at least I exist. Sam?
I've gone with Matt Tubbs and Tyrone Barnett.
It's a point for Sam. It's Tyrone Barnett and Kyle McFadzean. So Sam leads 2-0. Tom,
Get
your
the nosebleed here.
record
I've never been 2 ahead before ever.
your record is in the dumpster.
Yeah, dreadful.
There's a clue.
dreadful.
There's a clue for the next question. Don't know if you've picked up on it. Who got sent off that day?
Oh yes.
Oh, straight
know.
in! Straight in! Confidence there from Sam. You haven't written Nigel Clough again, have you?
I have not. No, that's way behind me. I've moved on.
From Pablo Mills.
Pablo Mills.
I've gone with the man John Dempster.
John Dempster is correct.
Yeah, no
It's
idea.
3-0 to Sam.
No
It's an
idea.
absolute romp so far.
It's a good clue, that actually.
Okay,
the Dempster.
thank you, cheers. Question 5. Crawley lost 2-0 to Port Vale on the opening day this season. Who scored both goals for Port Vale?
I know this one.
Ooh.
One that's not history, I know.
All right, well, technically it's all history, Tom.
Yeah, recent. Yeah, I suppose so.
Sam has gone.
Cullen.
Cullen.
Mark-
Tom has
Mark
gone.
Cullen.
Mark Cullen. Very good. Both a point. So that, at the end of the quiz, 4 points to Sam.
I've won!
He's won. He's off down the terrace with his shirt over his head. Tom, sadly, nothing today.
Hanging my head in shame. I'll have to go and come back stronger next time.
John Barnett, he'd be turning in his grave if he was
would.
dead. Anyway, we now move. We'll be back after the break with Harry, but let's hear from the People's Pension.
That's about 26,000 Premier League season tickets. During these uncertain times, it's more important than ever to defend your hard-earned money. Be on the ball to anyone contacting you out of the blue. Find out more about pension scams and how to avoid them by visiting our website.
Yes, Harry is back now. Harry, what did you think of that performance?
Shambles.
How many would you have got?
Full house.
That is a lie. That is an absolute lie. One thing I want to hear from people, I was going to do this as a segment, then I changed my mind, I wasn't, and now I'm going to do it off the cuff. I want to know if all the players from today's squad and all the players from the Battle of Bradford were in a Royal Rumble, which player would come out on top? So get messaging on however you're watching, Facebook, YouTube, illegal stream. Get messaging. If all the players from today's squad and all the players from the Battle of Bradford were all in a Royal Rumble, who comes out on top? We will find out what people are answering later on. Harry, let's look at today's squad. A little bit depleted. We said about the free changes. Interesting one. David Cisse comes in at left back. We've not seen a huge amount of David Cisse this season, but in previous years we've seen what he's capable of.
Yeah, I think I trust him. I think most fans do. I think he's kind of like, he went through that run where, funny enough, I thought he might actually end up leaving. I thought, fair enough, he'll probably get a move to a big club. Yeah, and it would have been deservedly so. It's fallen out of it a little bit, and it's hard to get running and get momentum going when you're not always in the squad. But I think for someone to come in, if we need a left back, we need a right back. I think if he was at another League Two club, he'd be starting. So I think it just goes to show how strong and how good the depth is to our squad. And I just feel comfortable with him coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody else who will never let you down is Mr. Declutter, our main sponsors here on... You like that little link?
That was good. That was good.
Here on Talk of the Town. They do garage clearances, loft clearances, house clearances, garden clearances. You need it clearing, they will be able to pull it off for you. No mess, no stress with Mr. Declutter. Please support them so they continue to support us beyond the end of the season. Huge thank you to them for enabling us to put the show on. We spoke there about David Cisse. He starts left back today. Over on the other side at fullback is George Frankham, and he caught up with Sam and Tom earlier in the week to preview today's game.
Good link.
George, thanks for talking to us. It's Port Vale tomorrow. How are you and the lads heading into that one?
Yeah, full of confidence, not letting the last result affect us, and we're not looking to take any negative energy from that disappointment last week into Saturday. We've had a good rest finally. It's been a really tough schedule, so we had a couple of days off to just refresh after that, and we're ready to push on for the last remaining games of the season, last 5-6 weeks, whatever it is. It's going to be another really tough schedule again. So we're fresh and we're ready to go.
Yeah, it's good to put that performance last week behind us, and as you say, get a proper rest in. I can imagine it's been quite some time since you've had a few days off.
Yeah, it's been full tilt, constant matches, training when we can, like you said, not many days off at all for a good 3 or 4 weeks that it's been. So it was good to get just a couple of days to just rest and get ready for the grueling schedule that's about to hit us again. But we're ready and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, as you say, another grueling schedule. I think it's 11 games to go now until the end of the season. Just be looking to pick up as many points as we can, and then just sort of see where we end up at the end.
Yeah, of course, it's still there for us. I still believe, although you look at the table and the points, I still believe it's in our own destiny, in our own hands to go and win whatever we need to win out of the last games. In our heads, I think we know what we need to achieve to get into that playoff spaces. We'll just give it everything we can. We'll leave it all on the pitch, and we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, and as club captain, you've overseen quite a lot this season. And obviously, he wasn't on the bench, but Raf travelled with the squad. I can imagine, as a captain, it's brilliant to see some of the young players come up and properly training with the first team and watching them progress.
Yeah, it's great. That's what it's all about for clubs as well. Bringing our own talent through, and we've got more and more. The last few years that I've been here, more and more young lads signed on and stuff. So, Raf's worked really hard, and he's a really good player. He's definitely got a lot to offer going forward. So he's just got to keep working hard, and he'll get an opportunity over the coming seasons, no doubt.
Yeah, you yourself, you've sort of moved around a bit this season. We've seen you play in the middle, left back, right back. But is right back your most comfortable, would you say, out of the three, or would you prefer centre mid?
I don't really mind. That's sort of been the story of my career, being moved around. All the clubs I've played at, I've played sort of predominantly right back or in midfield. But I've done a few games at left back. Not the most enjoyable, especially in the conditions at the moment. But I don't really mind. I think I think the way we set up, I think right back suits myself, and sort of when we've had our best performances, I think suits the team quite well when I've played there as well. So I'm just happy to play anywhere, really. I just want us, as captain, I just want to be part of a successful team. So wherever I can plug a hole for the team, I'm happy. But yeah, I'd say probably right back.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen Tony Craig come back into the side on Saturday, obviously after a forced change. But it's good to see him after a period on the sidelines. I'm sure he brings a real leadership alongside yourself in the back four.
Yeah, of course. Tony's had a great career, and he's a really experienced pro. So that's a massive plus that he's back fit again, because he's massive in the dressing room and on the pitch as a leader. So yeah, it's big for us going in for the rest of the season.
Thanks, George.
Cheers.
Yeah, right, we've had a few people messaging in to say who would win in a Royal Rumble. James Turner, Big Claude or Pablo Mills. John said Kyle McFadden. Peter said Tony Craig. Tester said Big Claude as well. Harry, who are you going for?
I'd like to see like a Claude Davis, Pablo Mills with a bit of Tony Craig. I think Craig's someone that would never say die, would he? Do you know what I mean? He could be out on the floor, but he would still be trying somewhere to get back up and keep it going.
I'd quite like to see someone like Danny Bullman in the Royal Rumble. He's the sort of person who would run in, punching the balls and leg it. That would be Bully. So I think Bully would have the strategy, but I would be going.
And the longevity.
The longevity experience is like the Undertaker. Bully is the cruelest Undertaker. Fantastic. You never know where this show is going. One place we are going now is for a coffee, because that is all we have time for. The players are in, just the subs left out. The Linos even finished his warm-up. Very funny. He almost fell over here. Very entertaining for the staff here on Talk of the Town. Talking to the staff, a few thanks to the filming company for eventually putting on a wonderful production. Bit shaky the first couple of minutes.
Talk of the staff. That's like a new spin-off show.
Yeah, Talk of the Staff. That's not a spin-off show you want to see. Let me tell you. But yes, thank you for joining us. I will be travelling to Carlisle on Tuesday. We'll be with Gary. Harry joins us at Scunthorpe on Good Friday. Hopefully it will be a Good Friday. Hopefully the Reds will be 9 points further on. That's ambitious, isn't it?
What, by the time we get to Scunthorpe?
By the time we leave Scunthorpe, we'll have an extra 9 points.
We will.
Yes?
We will.
Maybe. Harry, what do you reckon today?
2-0 win.
2-0 win. Love to see it. Thanks for joining us this pleasant Saturday afternoon. We will see you on Tuesday.
Yes.
All that's left for us to say is,
come on, you Reds.
What a show! If you enjoyed it as much as we did, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell icon so you can be notified about when we are next live here from Talk of the Town. Make sure you don't ever miss an episode, subscribe, hit the bell, and we will see you again very soon.